Welcome to Week 2 of the Phoenix Rising League. I will be your caster today, TLG, and we are going to be seeing the game between UCLA Esports and the Drexel Rejects. So, of course, getting into this game, I think there is something we need to point out, and that is going to be the Ivern top on the side of Drexel Rejects. We do see that it is an airy Ivern, which is pretty standard. Of course, you're not going to go something like Guardian if you're in a solo lane, but we'll just have to see how Drexel plan to pilot such a pick, especially into a Gangplank, who already has really nice scaling and can generally do just pretty fine into ranged matchups. We do have a bit of fighting here on the bot side, as Straws will find the Russian Ronin. Straws will have to actually take out his ghost because he gets caught out by the rest of Drexel Rejects. Of course, side of UCLA has a pretty nice grasp on the bot side of Drexel Rejects, and it'll just be kind of a standard start for this game as both teams kind of reset after this little skirmish here. Only notable thing going out is the ghost on Straws' Hecarim, and we'll just have to see if that results in a lack of a kill and or getting killed later on. We have the top side, of course, start for UCLA and the bot side start for Drexel Rejects. Of course, you can presume that this will always be the case unless the Lee Sin intends on solo camping, because Ivern cannot leash for very obvious reasons. He is a friend of the forest and cannot do any damage to that blue buff there. Rydragon is going to be taking out a bit of poke onto the Yone from Drexel Rejects, using a bit of that Karma range and just early nuisance pressure that he gets from that pick. Top side, you see a pretty standard start. Of course, Ivern's always going to want to start with his brushes, his W, because that gives him his empowered auto attacks, makes his trading a bit better, and of course CSing becomes a hell of a lot easier. The start of this game is probably going to be really, really calm, maybe except for some plays bot side. But of course, both Nautilus and Rakan have a decent level of disengage in addition to their own engage. Bit of trading come out here on the top side. Ivern getting to use his shield to kind of just walk up to the gangplank and win any trade by default. And so as I was saying, the only real action we'll probably see early game is going to be on the bot side here through the poke of Caitlyn and the Misfortune, through the fact that Rakan and Nautilus both have engages, because look here mid, Karma versus Yone. Yone's probably not going to be looking for anything too crazy. Karma's probably going to be pretty safe. And then same thing here on the top side. Gangplank isn't going to be able to do that much on an Ivern, especially early game here. So we do see both junglers are doing kind of a close to full clear. Of course, Lee Sin has skipped both Wolves and Krug, so it's going to be a 4 camp into Scuttle. And then Straws, however, is opting into the 6 camp into Scuttle. So he will be that 8 CS up at the end of everything. Seems that Rydragon's got a pretty nice wave here to hold for the bot side Scuttle. Won't be anything that the Lee Sin can contest, but I doubt the Lee Sin would have wanted to contest that anyways. TheFirstPoro's got quite the wave to deal with here. Probably going to hopefully get a lot of it with barrels, but he will have to watch out for this Nidalee dive. Of course, Ivern is really good at dives because he can give a lot of security to the fight. However, looks like they're going to misplay it a bit, and King will fall to the tower. I definitely think that in a more perfect world, the Lee Sin would have tanked it first and not the Ivern, but it seems that it was just a bit of a misplay by the Drexel Rejects as TheFirstPoro comes out on top of that 1v2 tower dive. Straws getting a bit more CS here in the enemy jungle, of course, with that amount of bot pressure, having the Rakan and Misfortune pushed under tower, harming the Lee Sin's failed gank a bit more. Bit of a salt on the injury here. Hopefully, there's going to be something else that Lee Sin can do to kind of come out on this game, as Lee Sin itself is not a great champion later the game goes on, becoming kind of a kick bot, and being already down 11 CS and a death does not help. Seems that the junglers are definitely opting into doing a lot of the camps on respawn. Lee Sin might be looking to do something here. Karma is pushed up, or he could possibly invade, but I definitely think that Karma is the play here. Pushing in, going into mid lane. Rydragon does narrowly escape. with the flash. 197 is pretty poked down, so that's going to be something he has to watch out for. Both mid laners opt into recalling here. The wave is frozen in the middle, so it's not actually a bad call. Bot lane doing just a bit of poking out here, playing the game pretty standard. Straws will be on the top side here. However, Lee Sin might find him. Straws might just go for the tower dive. The Ivern loses a lot of its power solo. And it seems that it will go down to the side of UCLA Esports as TheFirstPoro and Straws are able to coordinate a flawless tower dive, something that it seems Drexel Rejects could do a bit to learn from, as their last play did not work out in their favor. Straws will get out of there scot-free as Lee Sin is a full level down, 12 CS. That's 3 full camps, a half side of the map. So Rydragon's going to take a bit of damage here from the Yone, but of course Karma has that shield, and it's really difficult to get through that, especially without many items. The double dagger on the Yone is not a lot of damage. It's just going to be a very fast way of getting that lethal tempo, but it's just not going to convert into much damage into that shield. Especially when you have the ability to lock him in place like that. Lots of damage coming out from Rai here. Now getting access to the level 2 mantra. Lee Sin will flash in. Unfortunately, Yone will miss the kick, and it will be actually the ignite and the, he misses the Q, but it will be the ignite and the flash from the Yone that secures the kill. That gives them a bit more pressure here, especially as Ivern is rotating down with the push to wave. They might try to contest Dragon. It's a bit unsure as they are a bit unhealthy. Alibye is here. They might look into getting 197, but 197 will just ult away. Now the Drake bot side is all in favor of UCLA, so they may just take it as Caitlyn cleans up the wave. MF having not exactly enough mana to really retaliate in any form, and Alibye being there to help tank for Straws, so they stay healthy throughout the process. Of course, we have the entirety of both jungles being rather full of camps, so after this we should see a bit more of a dull in action. We have Sheens coming out on both the Hecarim and Gangplank, of course. Those are going to be really good for the skirmishes. And then bot lane, we have pretty standard, just component items. We do see the Caulfields on Misfortune, so that's going to presume that it is going to be a first item of the Muramana. Of course, top side is where we see the biggest differential here with the 1100 gold difference. It is reflected in the items as Ivern only has a Dark Seal and a Ruby Crystal, but Ivern should be noted as a low econ champ, so even though there is quite a gold disparity, it does not mean necessarily that much. Unfortunately for him, Gangplank is also someone that does really well with econ, so the value is not exactly as favorable as it were to be behind an econ versus, say, a Aatrox, who kind of just doesn't do much post Gore Drinker except for build full. It will be Straws going to charge in on 197 here. Gangplank ult will help secure the kill. Rydragon just supporting the team, and it does not seem like Drexel Rejects can do much here. Alibye might go down. Instead, it will be King that dies. Alibye and Rydragon, the two supports, bashing on Lee Sin. Unfortunately, Alibye does go down as well. However, Caitlyn does secure the kill with her ultimate. So that's going to be more gold put onto the bot lane of UCLA, and that's much more preferable to the Ivern getting gold necessarily, as it's going to leave the carries on Drexel Rejects, the MF and Yone, a bit short on gold themselves. Waves are a bit reset here. Of course, we have GP pushing the tower in. It's going to be a lot of gold, and as we were saying earlier, he really does enjoy that high econ, access to the crit items, access to the bruiser items, whichever it seems that FirstPoro might choose to go this game. I would definitely say that you could either do crit lethality or bruiser, as both can be seen as decent options this game, given the team of Drexel Rejects. And it will be 197, kind of getting caught out. Will be able to actually use his Q3 to create an opening for him to ult out. Pretty nice in terms of escapes, but that does mean they will be giving up the Rift Heralds here. Unfortunately for Drexel Rejects, that might mean that they'll just lose an outright tower, as the waves of the bot and top have been generally pushed in, creating lots of pressure, and currently 2 turret platings lost on the top side and 1 turret plate lost on the bottom side. Alibye and Rydragon are just standing idly here mid, trying to secure vision, stopping that Rakan back. Not too big a deal. Rakan is full on resources, of course. Back up top lane, we do see something important to note, and that is the 2-level disparity between Ivern and Gangplank. So when you're thinking about Ivern, although at this point in the game, he probably does have the maxed E, as he is level 8, or I guess next level would be the maxed E, so it's not a terribly big issue, as the other two abilities aren't nearly as important as having his shield maxed out for both the damage and sustain. But just to be down levels anyways into a Gangplank is kind of devastating, especially as Gangplank does have the barrels to also upgrade. It will be Straws going in on the bot side, and unfortunately getting caught by the Rakan and MF combo here. Will be stuck under tower and be taking the full brunt of bullet time. Unfortunate for UCLA Esports. TheFirstPoro might be in a bit of trouble here, but he does have Ivern already at half health, and King may be unable to really do much about that. Alibye taking a bit of poke from the double up on Misfortune. It seems that Rakan is looking for something, but Alibye does keep him in his tracks. Unfortunately, the Ignite does go down, and that'll be one dead Nautilus. Caitlyn will have to back a bit, respect, and probably just deal with it. This is a 3-man tower dive that is not doing that well. Of course, Yone will be able to get out here with all those shields, but it is still a 1-4-1. That is probably better for UCLA in the fact that it is gold on the Gangplank, and most of the wave was cleared, so there was not much of a loss. Strauss trying to go in a bit here, applying a bit of pressure on the bot side, but not much he can do to follow up on. Just pushing this wave, and so noak can get a safe and good back here. Rydragon doing a lot to pressure this mid wave, almost 2 plates down. It will be the Ivern teleport to match. It will be the support solo laners facing off in the mid lane as Gangplank comes back top to deal with the Yone pushing the tower. We do see the Dragon coming up, which will probably be fought for. It seems that Rydragon with his TP nearly available again will plant a back to get item. It's probably either Shirelia's or Moonstone as it is. Full purchased here. We'll have access to the TP to rejoin the Dragon fight whenever that occurs. Tickety-tackety will get ward down on Dragon. See that it is not being currently taken, but likely will be contested shortly. Ivern is here to give support, and Gangplank does not have ult. So that is going to be, once the Misfortune and Yone join the fight, that will be in favor of Drexel Rejects. It seems that instead, UCLA Esports will give up this Dragon and aim for the mid tower. They should probably get the mid tower as Drexel Rejects takes this objective down here. Oh, never mind. Straws actually tries to steal it, but is a bit late. Alibye getting a great ultimate off on the enemy team, and it will be them, UCLA, trying to mostly disengage here as Caitlyn does go down. Unfortunately, of course, Rydragon does get caught up in CC, and the bullet time will spell the end. However, we do have to see here, topside, TheFirstPoro is kind of moved up quite far in the lane, getting these towers, and it is going to apply a bit of pressure later on when it comes to more objective contests, where we have this Gangplank who could possibly participate in the fight from afar while also providing side pressure. Ivern, of course, is not nearly as capable of doing so, as most of his utility and power comes from actively participating in the team fights. It seems that Drexel Rejects were able to take a bit more from this fight here on the Dragon and look to take some advantages on the map. I'm not quite sure if that Misfortune did get that plate before the 14 minutes landed. So it'll just be kind of a slow accumulation of gold on the side of Drexel Rejects during this small window of time. It seems that, of course, junglers are resuming to clear. Not much to do on the map right now. We do have to note that Gangplank has 2 items already. Ivern doesn't even have his first item yet. That is a huge, monstrous gold advantage for UCLA Esports top laner. Elsewhere, we do see that first items are basically out on everyone, besides Ivern and Rakan and the Nautilus, which is logical as they are support champs. A bit unfortunate that Ivern is still a bit stunted, as he should probably have already gotten it. Well, he's just getting it now, but it is 15 minutes in the game, and even supports should ordinarily have Mythic by 13 minutes. Will be Straws engaging on 197 and Tickety. Lee Sin will get the kickoff, but he will be alone until 197 uses ult to rejoin. Does get a fabulous engage off, and that will be 3 members of UCLA falling in just Rakan dying for Drexel Rejects. That is not what UCLA Esports is looking for here. Unfortunately for Drexel Rejects, there's not much on the map to really contest right now. There will be the Rift Herald coming up shortly, but the side of UCLA Esports will be back up for that contest. So not a huge loss from these deaths. 197 will try to take this tower down, successfully will do so. King comes here, lands the Q. Is he able to get him? Nope. Rydragon will be able to shield himself to safety. UCLA's bot side does meet in the mid. Russian Ronin is alone, so has to be a bit wary of the Nautilus, so it plays from a comfortable distance away to Kutakity in the side of the lane to provide a bit of support. Straws is going to start taking the Rift here solo. Alibye is able to cover, and the wave top is pushed in, so they are pretty safe in doing so. FirstPoro hiding in the brush here might look to keep the wave close to him or take the tower. Either would be a possible move by the Gangplank in this situation. Mid, we just have a kind of a back and forth going on right now. Both ADCs just trying to secure as much gold as possible in these waves. The mid tower on the side of Drexel is pretty low, so if they decide to fight around it, they might be able to make do, especially with this cannon. It will be the cannon going down first and the tower surviving. A lot of people on the side of Drexel Rejects mid. It is going to be a Nayran here. The kick lands on Alibye, but Gangplank is getting a lot of value out of splitting here, as Drexel Rejects doesn't necessarily have much more they can do in this position. They'll be rotating down to Gangplank, but Gangplank's already left and claimed that tower. So in terms of macro, not the best play by Drexel here. It's going to be UCLA Esports deciding what to do now as they prepare for the upcoming Dragon spawn. We do have the Nautilus still unable to get that locket. Kind of unfortunate for this fight. However, we do have 3 items. Of course, these are 3 of the cheaper items you can purchase, but nonetheless, 3 full items completed on the GP. Not a mythic yet, however. We'll see if he does bring out that Prowler's Claw at some point. Instead, he is opting to the Serpent's Fang, which is just very logical into the Rakan, Lee Sin, Ivern, and Yone, all having shields in their own kits. Hecarim, of course, only on the first item, like the rest of the crew here, will be rushing the Russian Ronin, and caught a bit unfortunate under the tower here. It will be Alibye trying to save the fight. However, it does look like there's not much Alibye can do. Will actually get out through the use of the wall hook. FirstPoro just killing out Daisy here. And that looks like another dragon for Drexel, as Straws will be dead. Maybe FirstPoro is able to get a decent amount of damage with his barrels out. He is level 13 here, a pretty big point of a Gangplank, but instead they will opt into pushing the wave out. It's probably the safest option for UCLA Esports to take. They're going to rotate topside. Not sure exactly what they're looking for. It seems that they will just kind of back and then clear the waves top. This is a monstrous gold advantage topside here. That's 6k gold. If you're talking about gold differences, the topside gold difference is larger than the game gold difference, which says 2 things. Of course, it says that Ivern is monstrously behind, but that does not matter as he is Ivern and does really well with low gold. But it also means that it's really on FirstPoro this game to kind of save UCLA. They are down 3 kills and a Drake here, and with him having 6k gold on Ivern, that technically means if you take out both top sides, the UCLA Esports team is down 2k gold in respect. So it is going to be on the FirstPoro Gangplank here to really come back here and try to secure advantages. You will have to float Flash to escape Rakan. That is a nasty slow on the barrel there. Rydragon is there to support, and it will be Straws finding Beautiful Phoenix. going down, and then Rydragon also there to continue the support, but it will not be much more. Lee Sin is just going to farm. Alibye will find him. That is UCLA knowing what is going on inside of Drexel's jungle. Clearing a bit of vision here, may go in. They do have King a bit out of position here, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like much more will come out. Caitlyn ult to no fruition. Seems that UCLA Esports are actually taking this opportunity of Ivern being down to start Baron, but Ivern does have teleport, so it could be very risky. However, 197 does find himself immediately killed, King going down shortly after, but that is a massive misfortune ultimate as she just completely chunks 3 members of UCLA. Alibye and Straws, very low. Straws, of course, going down. Rydragon is holding the front guard here just a bit. TheFirstPoro does have his barrel, but will have to lose it in order to get to a safer position. And it's just going to look like a 2-for-2 in this fight. The Baron call was seemingly just a bait in this instance, and nothing much more will come out of it. Coming into items, we do see that Misfortune has opted to do the AD build that goes into the Leandry's damage. The idea of this build is to maximize the potency of both your ult and your E, which gives you much more ability to apply pressure when your ult is down. Of course, with a team generally mobile like UCLA's, where you're probably not going to be able to get great ease off, Rydragon does have the ability to give his entire team a lot of move speed. noak will be pretty far back with that Caitlyn range, and then Gangplank and Hecarim just kind of weaving in and out might not be in Misfortune's E all that long, and so far as we've seen in this game, it's been her ultimate that's been really carrying. So we'll see if the choice of Leandry's over something such as an Eclipse or Prowlers just for sheer damage is going to pay off for the Misfortune. It seems that UCLA will actually try to contest Baron once more. They are really keen on trying to force them out into these fights here. Rydragon is going to be holding the line just a bit. They have the Baron down to 5k HP. There will be a fight coming out. Beautiful Phoenix will be ulted, but however, Straws cancels the bullet time, splitting the fight in two. Really good for UCLA Esports. Unfortunately, the 197 Yone will take down Gangplank, which I said before is going to be a lot of UCLA Esports' damage. Alibye being sent back over to the Ivern, and that's going to be actually an ace for Drexel Rejects. Very unfortunate. A good thing that UCLA was able to secure the Baron buff so that the fight was not just an ace and a Baron give, but nonetheless, I think these were a bit reckless plays. We see in the goal that near everyone on the side of Drexel is doing better except for their 2 supports, Ivern and Rakan. And this is going to be really problematic, as especially with the ability to single out certain targets with Rakan, Yone, and Lee Sin. If Gangplank ever finds himself out of position, that's going to cost the fight almost guaranteed. This is going to be the 4th Mountain Dragon spawning soon. We'll have to see just how UCLA is able to contest it. Both teams are coming from spawn, so there isn't much in terms of initial positioning going on. It'll be about how both teams navigate through the jungle with vision. Straws will be clearing out a bit of words as we do have the oracles coming out. The control word will provide some pressure here for the meanwhile in the river, and it will be UCLA Esports that gets to the dragon first. However, Tickety Tackney might have a really good engage here. Does not seem too sure about it so far. Gangplank ult comes out on 4 members. Huge engage coming up by Straws, and that's going to be a lot of damage dealt to Drexel Rejects. Of course, it's going to be Straws alone now, but the rest of UCLA Esports is able to help out now. Caitlyn ult does finish off Yone. Rydragon ulting flashing over the wall just in case it doesn't. And now the tide has completely changed. That was a phenomenal Gangplank ult in that fight. It was able to just kind of secure a lot of damage onto Drexel Rejects while they were split, so that the ensuing fight would go in their favor. Alibye tries to find a sneaky hook, but will not see anything. Instead, they will just claim this turret. At this point, we do see that there is a 7k gold advantage, 6.5k gold advantage for UCLA Esports, and they're going to have to see how exactly they're able to use this gold. As we can see, we have to really hope that Caitlyn gets that Infinity Edge shortly in order to really help out in these fights with the Gangplank, because right now it's mostly the Gangplank that has all the income of UCLA, and that's again going to cause weaknesses in team fights where he's able to be soloed out. Of course, in that last one, it went very well for UCLA. Noah will be taking the red buff here, good for ADCs, of course, in this part of the game. We'll have to see exactly what else comes out. Just seems that Gangplank is being a bit careful on the split here. He does not have much vision on the side of Drexel, so he's going to just kind of wait in this brush, see if it gets pushed back to him and can catch someone out. He is at 4 completed items with the IE done, and it seems that he's going to go Crit Cloak item last, so maybe that's going to be either a Shield Bow, Gale Force. Of course, it'd be very unlikely for it to be a Kraken, as Gangplank is not someone who necessarily gets a lot of auto attacks in. Alibye is able to give cover, and it will be 5-man UCLA trying to push into this bot side. Gangplank absolutely just messing with this Yone here, the half HP barrel going out, and now Drexel has to be careful. It's a 4v5 here. There is a wave pushing in for UCLA. They will be able to have a lot. Oh my gosh, and that Gangplank just dominates the battlefield here. Straws is going to separate the backside as Gangplank gets a very quick triple kill. And it will be UCLA getting this tower here. It is phenomenal thus far. It seems like they might even be able to make a run for the win. Going back here, Gangplank does have 10 kills. That is half of their team's kills. He is highly, highly powerful in this game. They do have a couple of minions here, including a cannon, so they could probably at least get 1 tower here, but I doubt it extends to much else. Never mind, Alibye does have good positioning here around the Nexus. Straws does get rooted, but it does not fall. That Death Stance putting in a lot of work here. 197 does get a 3-man ult, but I don't think it's enough, as noak is going to be just free hitting this Nexus, and that is going to be the match of the week with UCLA Esports taking the win over Drexel Rejects. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week for the 3rd match of the week.